So what happened in 1990s with the comic book industry? There's a big parallel between what happened then and what people are assuming will happen now. And it's something that's on my mind, but I don't know very much about that. And one of the things that I really want to do is maybe start researching it. So one of the books that I found is called Comic Wars: Marvel's Battle for Survival. This is by Dan Raviv. This book offers an in-depth look at Marvel Comics' struggles for survival during the 1990s, a period marked by bankruptcy, creative disputes, and fierce competition. Very interesting, but a lot of the stuff I found definitely is all about Marvel and DC, and there's a lot that's about Image Comics. But this one stood out to me because I do believe that what ended up happening with Marvel during the 90s kind of cemented the trajectory of the comic book industry for the next 20 years that we find ourselves in now. So that's one that's on my list. The 10th Cent Plague, The Great Comic Book Scare and How It Changed America by David Hadou. While not exclusively focused on the 90s, this book delves into the history of the comic book industry and discusses the influential crises that emerged in the 1950s, leading to the Comics Code Authority and influenced the landscape of the 90s. And that one is obviously for background. We don't live in a vacuum, right? So what's occurring now at the comic book industry is the accumulation of shit that has occurred for the last 5-10 years, 20 years, according to a lot of stuff that I've been reading, right? Here goes one that I've seen floating around, and I think it's pretty popular, but I'm not too sure, right? It's called Comic Book Nation: The Transformation of Youth Culture in America by Bradford W. Wright. Although this book examines the history of comics in America, it dedicates a section to the 1990s, analyzing the significant changes that took place and the impact on readers and the industry as a whole. So I've seen this in libraries for free, and I'm wondering if that shouldn't be the first book to pick up and check it out. And if I don't read the entirety of it, maybe read the section on the 1990s. And there's a documentary that I never heard of, but I am definitely interested in it. And lastly, there's also this documentary that I saw pop up and I'm interested in. It's called The Comic Book Apocalypse: The Graphic World of Jack Kirby. This is not specifically focused on 1990s, but this documentary offers a comprehensive look at the iconic artist and writer Jack Kirby. It provides insight into his work during the 90s, including the challenges and changes faced by the industry at the time. So some of the things that people are saying occurred in the 90s, the same thing that's occurring now, right? They say 90s experienced significant changes and challenges, such as the rise of Image Comics, which is why, like I said, there's a lot of literature on Image Comics. New distribution methods, which is what we kind of are seeing right now, that the distribution methods that had existed were disrupted with DC leaving Diamond Distribution, and those systems not necessarily working. And like I said, the direct-to-consumer market becoming something bigger, as well as the digital comics becoming something bigger. So these are all challenges that are being created by these new distribution models that's disrupting what used to be. And lastly, they say the speculation bubble was one of the, also big pillars that contributed to the 1990s comic book turbulence. So if you guys have any other books to put into the list, and any documentaries really, because I feel like I would have more time to sit down and watch documentaries, but any kind of information on that, I would love to jump into it and talk about it on the channel and kind of see, what that leads us to. Like, does it lead us to a bigger, more fundamental kind of understanding of the comic book landscape? I think so, because I'm believing that most of this literature is going to conclude with, and then the 90s ended by doing ABCD, and then those structures that they built to survive that 90s turbulent comic book landscape is kind of the landscape that we've been existing in, right? And obviously it's been tweaked a little bit from year to year, but for the most part, that was the new foundation for the comic book industry, and that is the comic book industry that we're in at the moment. So this stuff definitely is going to be some of that stuff that, for me, who's really nerdy with this kind of stuff, is going to be interesting to see. But that's all I got for you guys today, man. As always, thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Lates.